A man can have $5 million on paper and still have no real control over when that money begins serving his family. He can be wealthy and still be standing inside the wrong machine. Because at a certain level of success, the danger is no longer failure. The danger is elegant inefficiency. A private bank does more than hold money. It shapes belief. It makes conventional structure feel intelligent. It makes ordinary leverage feel refined. And once a structure feels respectable, many successful people stop asking whether it is actually efficient. That is where quiet financial underperformance begins. John and Betty are exactly the kind of people institutions prefer. Congratulations. You've been approved for $1 million. Strong income, strong credit, stable behavior. $1 million mortgage does not feel dangerous to them. It feels like proof that they are doing life correctly. And that is exactly why they are useful here. Successful people often confuse social proof with structural superiority. Now remove every distracting variable. No inheritance, no lottery ticket, no fantasy. Just two 40-year-old doctors. Same hospital, same income, same broad lifestyle. Both plan to work very hard for 30 years. Both plan to save during those 30 working years. Both plan to stop contributions at age 71. And both expect that from age 71 forward, their money should finally begin working for them. Dr. John follows the path most successful professionals are conditioned to trust. He puts all $400,000 of annual earnings into the banking system temporarily. Then he draws most of it back out to pay for life. By the time the year settles, he has effectively left about $40,000 behind. That leftover $40,000 is what compounds, not the entire earning power of the year. Dr. John is not failing. He is simply using a machine that rewards only what remains behind. Dr. Patel is just as intelligent, just as hardworking, just as ambitious, but he possesses one formative advantage. He was raised by a very successful career life insurance agent. From an early age, Dr. Patel learned something most high earners never hear when they are young. There is a profound difference between earning interest on a small leftover balance and participating in a structure designed around total account value. So when Dr. Patel became successful, he did not look at a mutual life insurance chassis as a retail insurance purchase. He looked at it as financial technology, a liquidity tool, a compounding engine, a machine. And now the comparison becomes clean. Two doctors, age 40, $400,000 per year, 30 years of contributions. Retirement income begins at age 71. Here is the cleanest version of the comparison. Both doctors earn $400,000 a year. Both place the full $400,000 into their institution of choice each year before drawing out roughly 90% to fund life. This is not a comparison between one man who spends and one man who never touches his money. Both spend, both live, both circulate their cash flow. The difference is where the money sits temporarily and what that machine does while it is there. This is the hinge. Dr. John's bank pays interest only on the smaller amount he leaves behind. In this example, that is roughly $40,000 per year. Modern architectural or design elements suggesting the sophisticated structure of Dr. Patel's approach. Dr. Patel's design is very different. He places the full $400,000 per year into a properly structured accumulation design. One policy is for living well, the other is for leaving well. That distinction is sophisticated, and it changes everything. Now the architecture becomes visible. Two towers, two machines, same effort, different design. Now we walk the two systems side by side every 5 years. No fluff, no double counting, no repeating values after they've already been established, just the architecture. At age 45, Dr. John has about $220,000. Dr. Patel has about $2,170,000. That gap is already approaching $2 million. By age 45, Dr. John has built a respectable reserve. Dr. Patel has already built a different category of engine. At age 50, Dr. John has about $485,000. Dr. Patel has about $4,805,000. The separation is now visible. Dr. John has done what disciplined savers are told to do. Dr. Patel has done what structural thinkers do. At age 55, Dr. John has about $805,000. Dr. Patel has about $8,010,000. Growth inside the larger machine has now crossed $2 million. Optionality changes confidence. Confidence changes decisions. Decisions change legacy. At age 60, Dr. John has about $1,195,000. Dr. Patel has about $11,915,000. If either retired here using a 4% distribution framework, the contrast would already be enormous. Let the numbers sit. At 60, the machine is no longer theoretical. It is beginning to reveal future lifestyle capacity. At age 65, Dr. John has about $1,670,000. Dr. Patel has about $16,660,000. Now the gap is not merely visible, it is lifestyle defining. Same profession, same broad income, different engine. At age 70, Dr. John has about $2,245,000. Dr. Patel has about $22,435,000. Using a 4% distribution framework, that is roughly $90,000 per year versus roughly $897,000 per year. Silence. Visual transition, suggesting the move from accumulation to retirement phase. This is the end of the accumulation phase. Both men are now 70. Both stop contributions at age 71. Now retirement begins. And now the smaller machine tells the truth. If Dr. John wants to preserve principle and apply a conventional 4% distribution framework, his account may support about $90,000 per year before taxes. That is meaningful. It is respectable. But will it sustain the $400,000 lifestyle his family had for decades? Probably not. Now look at retirement through a different architecture. Dr. Patel understands retirement differently. He is using a different machine. Series of sophisticated lifestyle and investment possibilities, real estate, philanthropy, family support, business ventures. At 71, he could purchase a rental home in cash. At 72, he could make a major charitable gift and still live comfortably. At 73, he could support family and still reserve capital for future opportunities. At 74, he could deploy into hard assets. At 75, he could enter new opportunities without disturbing the base machine. At 76, he could fully fund college. At 77, he could fund advanced education. At 78, he could make major family purchases. At 79, he could buy a second property. At 80, he could buy beachfront real estate. At 81, he could fund major philanthropy. At 82, he could endow a university program. At 83, he could acquire a storage business with cash flow. At 84, he could acquire farmland. At 85, he could open a podcast or media channel and finance it from surplus access. At 86, he could fund major family milestones. At 87, he could provide exceptional care for a parent. At 88, he could extend that care across both sides of the family. At 89, he could begin next-generation policy design. At 90, he could finance a foundation, a media platform, or another meaningful venture entirely. That is not a retirement check. That is a lifestyle engine. Now widen the lens. For the high net worth client with a large IRA, the issue is not merely growth. It is tax concentration. It is required minimum distribution pressure. It is future flexibility. A large IRA can look impressive on paper, but it is pre-tax wealth. It is not fully controlled wealth. And that is where the executive conversation begins. A Roth conversion is not free. It is a deliberate recognition of tax now in exchange for the possibility of greater control later. So the real question is not whether conversion sounds attractive. The real question is sequence. How much? How fast? At what bracket cost? Using what liquidity? And what structure should exist on the other side of that conversion? This is not one magical move. It is a sequence. The affluent family does not merely ask, how much do we have? They ask, what tax regime is it trapped in? During the 30-year accumulation period, Dr. Patel did not merely watch statements grow. He used policy-based liquidity and a stronger balance sheet to expand far beyond his medical practice. Dr. John did many things right, but he never had the same liquidity cushion or credit flexibility to go all in when opportunity stood in front of him. Now we return to one of the most overlooked assets on many affluent balance sheets, home equity. For the right client, home equity is not just shelter, it is dormant collateral. The goal is not blind leverage. The goal is intelligent leverage. This is not a do-it-yourself fantasy. This is cash flow modeling, policy design, loan management, stress testing, tax review, Roth conversion sequencing, professional environment emphasizing disciplined, fact-based approach. This is where disciplined families begin, with facts. Cash flow, qualified assets, Roth conversion exposure, home equity, tax exposure, policy design, liquidity mapping, estate objectives. We would like the opportunity to review your cash flows, portfolio, home equity, qualified assets, and current architecture to see whether this kind of machine makes sense for your family. Because the question is not whether you have money. The question is whether your success has been properly engineered.